Welcome to TARTLEcast with your hosts Alexander McCaig and Jason Rigby, where humanity steps into the future and source data defines the path.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to TARTLEcast. Jason just came up with a phenomenal idea, so we're going to put this into a second episode.
No, well, it's a question I have as a user of Tartle.
Tell me.
So I have a lot of Internet of Things. I have wearables. I have different things like that.
I know where you're going with this. I'm so excited.
So you know what? My data on my laptop, my data on my desktop, my data on my phone.
Yeah.
So I have those three things. But my refrigerator, my water bottle, my Fitbits,
Yep.
you know, I don't know if I can use their name or not, but whatever. My wearables, all these things, you know, and Internet of Things, they said is growing like, what, 400% or something? Pretty soon our house, toilets are going to have, you know, everything's going to be smart.
On everything, yeah.
How can Tartle get that data?
I am so glad you asked.
I figured you'd like this one.
A big part of, we have kind of like a triad or a trinity or a triplicity for how we do things at Tartle. And that's advertising, educating, and integrating. Okay? So advertising gets our name out there. So people are like, oh, what the hell is this tool?
Right.
Okay.
Did they say it like that?
Yeah.
What the hell is this
What the
tool?
hell is this tool? You know, and then...
You're such a tool, Alex. Sorry. I have to be the one that jokes around.
It's fine. It's fine. And then the second part of our triangle here is education.
Right.
Okay. That's the podcast. That's our videos online. That's all of our written material. It's all of our walkthrough videos. It's everything so you understand where the value of this tool comes from.
Right.
Okay. So what is it? How does it work? And then the third part is the integration. Well, how do we make it useful for the internet right now? So in Tartle, there is a data category when you sign in called integrations.
Oh.
And these integrations are these things called APIs.
Right.
Okay. It's a programmable interface. And what that means is it allows our system to make a phone call to your wearable, your Fitbit.
Like
right?
the app, the Fitbit app
Whatever
or
it might be.
whatever. Yeah.
Or to your bank account.
Right.
Or to your healthcare provider. All these different things. So it's going to make a phone call and be like, hey, I have this gentleman with this specific key of information, and I know for a fact it's him, and he would like to access his information.
Because an API key is like super encrypted.
Yeah, super encrypted. And and he's asking to take this information from your system
Right.
and pull it into this one at his request. So with Tartle, what we are doing is we have a list of all of the largest and most active APIs, from wearables to bank accounts to healthcare, you name it. And what we are doing is we are going through the development process of integrating these things into the system. So that means it'll seamlessly pull all that data down, so there's no labor-intensive issues for you.
So, because there seems to be more of these, and they call them the Internet of Things. You know, there seems to be more of as these become more popular, whether it's a Samsung, you know, speaker, you know, that's collecting data, your voice,
Yeah.
you know, different things like that. All of these things will be eventually. You'll use an API key to communicate with each other, and then that will create a packet.
That's precisely correct.
And then you could turn around and sell that packet.
You can turn around and
So your voice is really big and going to be even bigger. They said that'll be before we get, you know, anything with the, you know, the wearables as far as an Oculus and all that stuff. They said voice will probably, as it's what, 6th grade right now? Mm-hmm. You know, as we get up to the 11th, 12th grade, you know, with Siri, she's still not, you know,
she's
super
not there
smart.
yet, but she's getting there.
But as we're able to speak, why would we type things when we can speak?
It's not necessary at that point. Typing
But
is primitive.
Collecting voice data would be huge.
Huge. And being able to get that from people directly.
Yes.
And you would know that you typing or you talking all day long to all your systems.
Right.
And it's coming into Tartle securely. And you know that as you're creating more,
Right.
the market value of that is increasing.
Yes, exactly.
So you're like, oh my goodness. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of worth to what I'm creating. And people want that for their AI algorithms.
Right.
Because it enhances their product. So what Tartle is doing for those integrations is we have a major list. and we're working through them one by one by one, and we're adding those into the system so it's no labor at all for you. Sign in, and it's always going to automatically pull it down.
because it's I mean, like Fitbit's literally, they send me a health wellness report. It's a PDF.
Yes.
Every week, and it has 30 plus pages of everything that's going on, and I can look at my resting heart rate. All those things I could turn around and sell. And then a company.
What about pairing it? You could pair it with the healthcare stuff you're pulling down.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you have a beautiful combination. Oh,
Right.
wait a minute. I want to grab one more thing. Jason, can you tell me about your behaviors? Now I have 1, 2, 3. That is a doctor, statistician.
Not my
anything.
late night behaviors.
Not
right?
your late night. Anything before 9:30 p.m. for you.
Yeah, it's where from 9:30 to 12:30 we won't talk about that.
Unless it's the winter months and we're talking 6 p.m. There's a swing
Winter
area.
is coming.
Yeah, winter is coming. But yes, I'm super glad you asked, because the system's not designed to be labor intensive. It's supposed to be an extension of the human being. So how do we create something with such a human interface to make it an extension of them? And that's why we're hiring a world-class team to build that interface and redesign the system and make it so it's a smooth, seamless, very emotional interaction.
Right.
So you're like, wow, it feels good being on here.
What if you had a podcast and you wanted to? Can you sell data? Could you sell a packet of voice for your podcast?
So I haven't considered putting like a file like that in yet, because everything has different types of encryption. You want how it's stored.
Right.
So you really have to think about, in a security standpoint, if you're taking on certain formats of files, how are you going to store those efficiently?
Oh, like a WAV file, an MP3 or something like that.
Because they're data heavy.
Right.
So you really got to figure out, well, what is the real valuable stuff that sits inside of it?
Yes.
Right. So those are things that we.
It wouldn't be that valuable because once you release the podcast, it's public domain anyways.
It's public domain anyway, right?
Yeah. So, but I mean, like my Fitbit information, like you said, with my health records and my behaviors, that combo. And then you could probably find, I guarantee you, there's 1,000 other me's.
Oh, there's tons.
And then you could market to me with the products. If you're a company looking at purchasing the data from TARTLE,
Damn straight, yeah.
it would be the same thing.
You want to know something a little disturbing? So Google says that it's anonymized, and it's messed up in my mind. Because of the COVID thing, they thought they would take it upon themselves to show growth maps of people that, say went down to certain areas in spring break, down in March, like in Miami, and how those people ended up like tracking out in their spread, and how that actually was mirrored with COVID cases.
Right.
So what you really saw was a heat map that was tracking every single pinpoint, every certain amount of time on every single person's cell phone.
Well, I know I heard about that, like with Apple and stuff like that, with the new updates. And
it's really, there's a line. I understand you're trying to help, right? But not one single person was aware of what was being released. And because there was no transparency in something like that, even though they thought they were doing it for the greater good, altruistically, who knows where that information is going on the back end and how it's actually being used.
Yeah, the transparency of the way that data is used.
Right. So a major integration I'm looking at for TARTLE, and I'd like to force this into policy later, if I can, is all of your location data goes into TARTLE. It does not pipe right over to these people first for analysis. It has to go through us first, and you're going to release it after they pay you for it. Because the absolute, apart from someone's secrets that they have internally within themselves, I mean, those are the deepest parts of you. That's for you to keep, okay? And you share it really only if you want to. But location is the last bit of sovereignty.
Right.
Right? That's like your final bit of privacy that you actually do have. And to like watch that sort of tracking sit into place does not lay a good foundation for the future, especially with such a lack of transparency on how it's actually being collected. So what I would like to see as a major integration is all location data is under complete and total control of the individual, and they can release it for analysis when they've been fairly compensated for it through the TARTLE marketplace.
That makes sense.
And I really want people to be consciously aware of that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
That is your final bit of sovereignty. And once that's abused,
then
what do you have left?
Yeah, exactly. No, I get that. Well, thanks, Alex. We'll end on that note.
That was heavy.
That was real heavy, but I guess we'll just go
and cut it.
Thank you for listening to TARTLEcast with your hosts Alexander McCaig and Jason Rigby, where humanity steps into the future and source data defines the path. What's your data worth?